Hello, everybody. How are you guys doing today? My name is RODGON. I'm an artist. I'm a designer. I'm an illustrator. I'm a cartoonist, comic book artist, graphic designer, advertiser, marketer, kids book illustrator, illustration worldwide competitor. And today, I happen to take the title of your new favorite art teacher. I know. Hard mantle to take on, but I have a feeling I will earn it by the end of today's lesson. Today, we are going to teach the simple concept of learning how to move your bodies with overlapping shapes. Overlapping shapes. I'm going to teach you guys the simplicity at which it can be if you just pay attention to two things: drawing through your shapes and pivoting. If you learn how to move your things and you learn how to pivot them and overlap them, things become a lot easier. And things like posing and drawing things running and sitting and doing any of those things that you guys normally find complicated, by the end of today, it shall be a lot easier for you. And my goal will be to have made you a little bit more proud of what you learned. Not proud because you replicated or copied me, but proud because you understand something new. So, today's lesson will begin when we get to 5,000 likes. So, when we get to that range, we will begin our lesson. But until then, I'm going to tease you guys with knowledge because that is what I do. Being able to learn to draw overlapping shapes is one of those concepts that gets lost within the boundaries of our initial learnings of our foundations, right? It's pretty much there alongside the concept of drawing circles. Learning how to draw circles and ovals and then learning how to connect them is one way to create depth. Learning how to draw them and connect them even though they're not necessarily touching is what separates that from the ability to draw legs. Learning how it connects to the body is the other obstacle that a lot of people have. So once you understand a bunch of ways to do them, then you start just realizing that arms and legs have a very similar pattern. A ridiculously simple pattern that a lot of people just misinterpret for lots of complicated details. And in all reality, all you have to really learn to do is make a figure 9 with a thick circle. This gives you volume, this gives you an edge, and by learning how your muscles connect in a very simple structure of overlapping, you can create yourself legs. So that is what we're going to be touching on today. We will touch upon the concept of the hips, how to find your legs really easy, like stupidly easy, like guys, like girls, everybody. After today, you will not have issues with legs. Like, I am that confident that I can give you a very easily to understand concept work for you to get to a very nice defined style of legs with an understanding behind it. Do you recommend the Loomis method? Not for beginners. I recommend it for anybody that wants to go into more precise portraiture, right? If you want to go into portraiture, it's really good because it gives you a very defined areas, right? It gives you very defined areas that are geared towards more realistic proportions. So following the Loomis method is very good if you already understand volume. The thing is, this is a more advanced way of seeing things. This has a couple things that are going to complicate the way that you see things. Yeah, let me explain. Okay, first, it requires you to understand how to slice a circle in half and create a surface. right? If you don't understand the concept of being able to do that, it becomes really difficult for you to follow this. Second, it tells you that you have to go around your shape and then exit it at a flat surface to be able to find the shape of your jaw. This, in connecting curves at an angle, is incredibly difficult for beginners. Stupidly difficult. That's the reason I never followed it. I would get lost the moment that you asked me to curve that for my chin. But that is just a visualization thing, right? Because later on, when I learned how to draw heads on my own and for myself, I just learned to connect a circle and a box. And that box gives me my eye sockets and a little teardrop. Doing this gives me the same concept, and if I want that little curve, I just connect body parts together, right? I go from my ear to my chin. So if I find my ear, I just ear, chin, touch it. So if I wanted that little line, it would be really easy to replicate it once you understand what you're drawing. And I learned how to understand that by just drawing like skulls and seeing where I could find easy patterns. I found that the easiest pattern is by just drawing an X. If you draw an X and you cup out whatever size you want that nose, that could be the nose, that's your mouth space. You choose the spacing in between your eyebrows, and this leads you down to your eye sockets, which you can draw your eyes inside. If you draw a circle that matches where the bottom of the nose is to the top of the head, you have width. And then later on, when you learn anatomy, you'll learn how your temples, your cheekbones, and your chin connect. And it becomes a little bit easier to understand that because you can move that in space a lot easier, right? Remember, we're beginning our lesson when we get to 5K legs. So make sure to keep on hitting that like button if you guys want to begin the lesson on legs. So a box and a circle can teach you how to draw a head. Okay. Now, how hard is it to move a box and a circle in space? Not very hard. A box and a circle make the circle bigger, the box smaller, you get more of a 3/4 profile view. Make that box bigger, and guess what? Now you have more of a 3/4. Make that box bigger, and you have yourself a front view. So it's just a matter of give or take, small circles, big box equals front, or 3/4 closer to the front view. Big circle, little box means closer to a profile. And then if you want that little curve, you just go from the middle of the circle to the edge of that circle, boop, boop, and touch your chin. Then you have yourself access to that. Hey, it's Oddcore. Well, now you have not missed it, and you're going to have a good one today. We only need 1,000 likes, and we will begin our lesson on legs. And it's going to be cool, sexy legs, now little chibi legs. We're going to learn how to draw legs for animals. We're going to learn to draw everything leg-related. Anything from little chibi ones to more complex ones to more super ultra detailed ones so that you can learn how they connect to the body and how you can use them. Because understanding the body, learning anatomy, is about knowing how you can manipulate the position of the body parts, not just the body part. The position of the body part is the important thing. You can always balloon muscles and shit like that out, right? You can always add volume to it. You can always remove volume for it. But if you don't know where to add it and where to take it out from, it's going to be really hard for you to find a structural way to do it without having to relearn for every single body type. Hey, we got 5,000 likes. Woohoo! Panda Squad, get ready to learn. These are my Panda Squad guys, and then the Panda Squad leader, it's Vicky. Vicky's the Panda Squad leader. We're developing that story with Bernie. Anyways. Bum, 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 bum. Today's lesson is legs. Why are they hard? Why are they hard to draw sometimes? How can we make them easy? How do we understand proportions? And how do we make them all cool and sexy if we want to make them into girls, guys, everything in between, and everything outside of that? We will learn how to draw legs for animals and legs for humans as well, because they're not very different. Just people don't know how to explain it. And I just went to the zoo too. No, I went to the museum. So I just have like fresh memory of anatomy right now. So I want to touch up on that. So first of all, for all of you guys joining me today, my name is RODGON. I'm an art teacher. I have been for the last 12 years of my life. And I have dedicated my life to putting as much content online, not for you guys to know who I am, but for you guys to actually learn what you're supposed to learn to be able to be competent artists, right? So if you ever go to my YouTube channel, you will find over 1,000 videos now. The combination of the lives and the normal videos, there's over 1,000 videos that you guys could go learn from in various topics. Be it anatomy drawings or just going to conventions and you want to make your own thing, or do you want to touch on digital stuff, or do you want to learn how to make a living? There's videos for a little bit of everything, and that's because my goal is to make you not have to go to art school, right? I don't want you guys to go into debt to have to learn how to do the things you want to learn. That is not going to ever be something that is beneficial to you. And if you learn, it doesn't have to be from a school. You just have to find that knowledge. That is the beauty of the creative world that we live in, okay? Being able to learn how to draw things is not geared towards a specific person, a specific way. Everybody has to learn a little bit different. So understanding very basic cues of positioning and anatomy will help you be able to put your own spin on anything you feel like drawing. So today, that is going to be the legs. So any questions that you guys asked today, make sure that you guys refer to it as questions for the leg structures so that we can be able to make it a very nice solid class and that we can actually make it make sense to everybody that's watching it later on YouTube as well. Boom, boom, boom. So understanding legs. Legs consist of a couple parts, okay? Legs for a human is going to consist of a thigh. You're going to have a shin bone, and you're going to have a flat part of your foot. Imagine that your foot is your hand, and you have a palm of your foot, the palm of your hand. Okay, I'm going to relate that to a hand right here, just so that you understand how simple it is to complete that. Okay, the hand has two bones, and they connect to the little bones that go onto your fingers. Your ankle, I think it has one bone or two bones. I just consider it one big bone. Just one big bone, and then it has muscles behind it. The ankle, the forearm, is a bone that goes down, and it has muscles around it. Right? This just happens to be on a little bit on the side. Instead of in the middle, that's on the side. Then you have your thigh that has your bones in the middle. So you don't see any of the bones within the structure of the thigh. It just connects to the hip bones. You have your shoulder and your bicep that connect to your body in an ankle. And you don't see the bone because the bone is inside. So in this case, the thigh is bigger. It just overwhelms the bottom part, right? So the thigh tends to be up in front. Most of the mass will be in front. And this one, it tends to be the forearm. The forearm digs into the middle of your shoulder, and it splits your bicep and then you have your chest. Here, this gets split where the bone hits, and then you have your muscles aligned like that. Do they look similar in any way? Now, the movement of them is going to be very similar as well. From this one, we take the bone into consideration, right? We have the thigh, we have a circle, and we have our bone that goes down. It's in the front. So then we have our foot, and we have our muscle that connects to the back of this. So we have this, we connect it to the back of it. And then if we need to move the leg, we can move that and just connect it to the back of it. We move it again, move it to the back of it. It's always going to connect to the back of it if you're seeing it from this angle. Okay? So when you're drawing things like positioning your body parts in different positions, let's say you're doing like some martial arts thing, you can go thigh, calf, foot, and then the inside squishiness. It's outside edge first, inside for volume. Okay? And if you need to move them, you always go outside edge, inside for volume. If you want to stylize them, outside edge, inside for volume. So this is going to be a consistent thing when it comes down to legs. You're going to have the outside edge first of your leg. You're going to draw the outside. You're going to draw your foot. And then you're going to go inside. Does this resemble something else? That resembles a hand in every single way. The hand and the feet are going to be very, very similar in nature. A lot of it is going to be where you determine the elbow or the kneecap, right? And a lot of the times, your hand goes inside as opposed to your foot that goes outside. But your hand can also go outside if you bend it the other way. So when you realize that these two muscle structures are incredibly similar, like ridiculously similar, and just have to learn how to overlap the shapes a little bit, you're going to improve the way that you draw things. Okay? Then your hand can go either way. Your hand's very mobile. And you can rotate. So now that we understand that the legs and the arms are going to be very similar and we're going to level up both of them by learning one of them, now let's talk a little bit about how the hips particularly connect to the body. But I will give you guys that knowledge when you guys get me to 10,000 likes. Oh, I am an evil genius. Oh, marketing genius. That's why I reach like 1.2 million people every month. By my evil laughter. Boom, 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 boom. So I'm going to teach you guys the coolest new way that I have learned to draw legs. And it's called the golden snitch or the fly method. If you learn how to draw a little fly and you match that fly twice, you can learn to draw your arms and your legs and your head in one fell swoop. How cool is that? How cool is that? So learning how to draw two circles, a little fly, you can learn to draw a whole human structure in like no time at all. Outside, inside. Outside, inside. Outside, inside. Ooh, look at me. Ooh. I am a fancy anatomy system. It's very effective. It's incredibly effective. And since these two, the circles at least, retain the same size, if you make one bigger, you bring it into perspective. Yay! So now you can draw your characters with extreme perspective. Really easy. Dun, 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 dun. Where you move this, you can move your arms up or you can move your arms down. Give that man an award. Yeah, I'm developing that a little bit more. I don't know if I should call it the golden snitch system or if I should just call it the fly method. The stinky fly method. In between, you got your rib cage and then your legs. You do anything you want from these circles, right? As long as it's divided into two. 1, 2, 1, 2. Then you do the inside for squishiness. Do the same thing with the arms. Outside first, inside for squishiness. Outside first, inside for squishiness. And then I can make like whatever effects, like Rasengan. Give him a ninja. Give him like some cool hair. So understanding the power of just knowing where your body parts come from, right? You guys see the power in that. The benefit of just understanding the connecting point, right? And then choosing. From here, I can choose any shape I want. If I want this thinner, I can just make these thinner. And I can change the style of the character without changing the structure of it. Right? I don't have to change the way that the flow of the drawing is. If I want more muscles, I can just balloon them, the muscles out and overlap the lines, but not change the structure. And now I can draw any style I want as long as I connect the things back to these little circles. It's a beautiful thing because it eliminates the need for style to be able to develop something, right? Draw a circle, draw your head from that circle, draw a little fly so you can draw your collarbone, your back muscles, and your shoulders. Then you draw a little circle, the same size, but if you want big hips, you can draw this a little bit bigger. In between, you need your rib cage, right? And you touch the middle parts. Now you have yourself the ability to draw yourself characters of all shapes and sizes, okay? And all you gotta do is connect the shapes back to these elements. You're welcome. It's a beautiful system. And I developed it. Because I am a master. So you know the thing that I have been like thinking about doing? And I really want to do it because I just want to travel a little bit more and I wanna have some fun. So what I'm thinking about doing, and please tell me if I'm fucking crazy, okay? If I'm crazy and this should not happen, please let me know. Because if I am like obscurely just like out of touch with like the level at which I'm at or whatever, please let me know. I am not a person that like is object to just being told, dude, stay in your fucking lane, right? But what if I did this? What if let's say I apply to the world's most prestigious art schools, right? Like Cal Arts and shit like that. But not with the intention of getting out and getting hired by Disney or anything like that. What if I do it with the intention of taking the classes so I can teach everyone what the classes were taught? So essentially going like an undercover teacher, right? Like taking the lessons and then sharing it with everyone. Right? Like, one, I would get to learn from people that I have not learned from yet. Two, I can translate any and that knowledge to everyone else, right? And I get the master's education that I want. So I don't know. You guys tell me. Would that be like a crazy, like stupidly, like entitled thing to like be like, oh yeah, let's make like a Kickstarter so I can be like, yeah, if you guys help me pay for this, I will give you all the knowledge that a master's degree would give. It's been my dream to go back to school to get my master's degree. But again, the cost of it is just not justifiable. But if I can make it beneficial, not just for me, but for thousands of people that have wanted that education, but they don't have the resources, I can be the translator. I can be the mediator. And it'd be something so fun for me to do. Like, imagine going to class and then coming back to my like house or apartment, whatever, and then being like, all right, guys, we learned how to do this. Oh, no, I don't think they would. I don't think they would accept me if they knew I was going to do that. I don't think they would admit me. I have to apply like as if I was like a student, like a fresh student. How am I supposed to not be disappointed when practicing? Oh, let me give you a really quick insight as to a person that draws every single day, right? A person that draws every single day for jobs doesn't get a chance to care if they are being disappointed or not. You just create. Okay, you don't sit there and wonder, oh my God, is this client going to think that my logo that I spent 10 hours on is lovely or not? You just go, here's your logo. Pay me. When you get to a certain point in your career, you're not going to be concerned with that sort of stuff. Because inspiration, the need for inspiration is a big lie. It's a big, gigantic lie that is given to you by pretentious artists that don't have the ability to touch upon any creative information or knowledge when they're not inspired, right? You don't need inspiration to learn. And you don't need inspiration. You don't even need to be a good artist to be a good artist at all. You don't have to have the vision. You don't have to have all that stuff. I know more very, very proficient professional artists that just do it because they're decent at it, not because they love it. Just like imagine that you were really good at carpentry, right? But you didn't really like carpentry, but you were still doing it because you were really good. I know a lot more of those in the field, in the world that I've lived in, like like everything. I know more of those that are like, well, I just do it, than people that are actually super passionate. You know why? It's a very simple concept. Because they're not picky. They just want to create something, or they have the ability to create, so they don't really care if it's ideal or not. When a person has this like weird stigma that everything they do has to be the most beautiful, lovely thing, and oh my God, what would anybody think if Rod released a drawing that didn't have their eyes symmetrical? Oh no, how dare he? No. If that happens, you correct it and you send it, right? But understanding that mistakes happen all the time. The beautiful thing is that your mistakes as an artist are fucking lovely. Okay? Your mistakes are prettier than what 90% of the humans around you can ever create. So rest assured that making mistakes is going to happen. But your mistakes are much prettier than other people's mistakes. So it's okay. You're allowed to make mistakes when they look as beautiful as the ones you guys make. Yeah? You don't have to love them, but you got to learn from them. You don't have to learn to love the things that you dislike, right? If you make like a big mistake all the time, You don't have to keep making the same mistake. You can learn from your own things. You could be subjectively saying, oh, I draw things too big. Let's try drawing smaller. And then you draw smaller. And then if it works, you tell yourself, yay, that looks awesome. And then you keep drawing like that. If you go, oh, I'm drawing the arms too big, and you keep doing it, no amount of teaching or instruction is going to help you understand, hey, dude, hey, you have identified the problem. You can make this change by just drawing it a little smaller. And if that's still too big, you make it a little smaller. Until you get to the point where you like it. And then you take a note. And you're like, ooh, okay, the arm should be about as long as my hips or to the second fly. Or whatever method you choose. Right? And then you're like, okay, every time that I draw my arm, right, it's going to be about the length of that other one. So if I draw my little circle for my head and my little circle for my hips, whatever arm is going to be about as long as that. So as long as I keep that notion in mind, I can draw that arm in any direction. Okay? So understanding this is what perspective in just foreshortening and very, very, very basic drawing over your shapes does, right? Just learning how to draw over your shapes a little can be a gigantic step forward for your art. Learning how to, where to put those, because now you know how to draw the little fly, keeps them proportionate in space. Right? And the same thing happens with the legs. Measure where the leg measures from. It's normally from your hips to about your collarbone. So from that direction, I can make this go in any direction I want. Even crazy ones. Okay? Making them smaller just makes them go back in space. But I know every single limitation of my body just from visualization. Just for being like, okay, I learned that my arm will reach this little point of my structure that I normally draw. So now this is the point around everything. So the distance from here to here is the same distance to every other direction. Okay? And that is how you learn how to draw your body parts in different directions. With the right proportions and everything. Okay? So understanding that is why it's important to do that. I don't know how to draw over shapes. Do this. Draw a circle, and then draw another circle. And then you see these lines that overlap? You get to choose how much of those lines overlap. If you do it a little bit, it's going to give you like a little jelly bean. If you do it a lot, it's going to give you an almost two separate objects. So just by following this line down, you created more depth. So how do you use that? Things like legs and arms are all a matter of understanding that. If you understand that some parts it's going to be minimal, some parts is going to be a little bit more, you can maximize the amount of depth that you can draw. Okay? Things like fingers and stuff like that are just that, but with 3 sections. Things like thumbs, same thing. It's 2 shapes overlapping. And learning how to control that with various shapes that are bigger, and 3 at a time is going to be how you draw legs. Your dad just lost one of his legs through amputation. So if you want to draw your dad, it would just be something like that. Depends on where he like lost it. You know, if you ever wanted to like draw him in case you wanted to and don't want to like make it look weird. Depending on the placement of his amputation, it would be based on that. At the knee, so we would eventually you would just draw the thigh. So it's just like a little teardrop from the hip bone. And then like if you have them in like wheelchairs and stuff like that, you'd have one leg. And then the other one would just be like that. Okay, in case you ever want to draw him or you want to do like anything cool for him. Okie dokie. All right. Any other questions on legs? Before we move on to the hip bones. Any other questions on the leg so far? We have learned to draw the body from a little fly. Learning that anything you draw from that little fly is going to turn into a leg. Any direction you connect it. Right? It does not have to be a very complicated shape. And then whenever you want to add muscles, you draw 2 circles inside. You draw curvy, straight, straight, curvy. And then you can get all those cool little stylized ways that you draw. Okay? So circle, circle, fly, straight line, circle, circle, straight, curvy, curvy and curvy, straight, straight. How do you determine length? I just told you. Oh, if you weren't here, let me explain. If you have a body, if you want to learn how your body gets measured at all, okay? This is how you do it. You find your arm. You put it against your body. How far down is it? Where does your elbow touch? Your elbow is going to touch roughly where your rib cage hits. Right? Then your arm, your upper body, this part of your arm, if you double it, because you can bend your arm, right? You can go wee. You can measure how far up your hand goes. It's normally the top of your palm hits your shoulder. So now you know that this and this is going to be about the same. Okay? Then you do the legs. If you bend your legs, let's say you bend your leg up, where does it hit? It hits roughly at the bottom of your neck or the collarbone. So this is the first section of your leg. This is that. Right? That same distance. If you need to move this in any other direction, that distance, you can move it in any other direction and then slowly learn how to move your leg in every direction. The top of your arm or your leg is going to be very similar to the bottom of your leg. So just overlap them so you can do these little bendy things. Right? Just overlap them. And then choose which one of those lines to overlap to generate the styling one. Pigeon-toed. What's being pigeon-toed? I don't know what that means. Like somebody that has like the toe of a pigeon. But then like normal human toes. But like your legs are not. Feet in? Oh, okay. Check out how easy that's going to happen, okay? We're going to have our legs. We're going to draw the same legs, but instead of drawing them outside, we're going to draw them inside. Same 2 shapes. Same overlapping lines. It's just the bottom of the feet that change. And just go inside. Instead of going outside. So I don't think it's very difficult. Your hips don't change, right? It's just your legs that maybe go inside. They just go inside a little bit more. I struggled to connect the lower body to the that it's the same body. Stop drawing them separately. You know how easy it is to connect the upper body and the lower body? Just draw a little circle and an exclamation mark. Okay? The exclamation mark, draw a little fly, and then draw the same little fly up here. That's the size of your head. That's going to be your arm places. Whee! This is going to be your leg places. Whee! And you connect it. Now, exclamation point with this same circle up here. You can draw a straight line if you want, instead of the little fly on the top. And then you can learn how to draw your body parts from there. Even the more complex poses are relatively simple once you keep that in mind. A hand? No, hands are easy. So hands are this. You have a volume, right? Any volume. Let's say a box, a shape, whatever, a circle. You need 2 fingers to start. You need one at the end, one at the other end. You have your pinky and you have your index. So I'm just going to start with those 2. Circle, circle. 1, 2. Anywhere. Circle, circle. 1, 2. But what does that tell me? This is going to tell me that I need 2 more fingers in between these guys. Right? So I need to add 2 more fingers. Whee! And then the index, whatever is the one that I decide is the index, has the thumb side. So I just draw another circle for my thumb on the index side. The size of my wrist is the same size as my palm. And I can move that in any direction I feel like. So when I'm actually trying to do this and make it look cool, I find my index, I find my pinky, and my index is going to give me my thumb. Right? These 2 connect, and I just need 2 more fingers in between. And that is how I draw my hands. And they end up looking like this. Right? Index, inside for volume. Pinky, inside for volume. Thumb, outside, inside for volume. Same thing. Have myself a hand really, really quickly. But once you start segmenting the fingers, then you can move the fingers around in any way you want. You can learn how to overlap your thumb, the same way you were overlapping your bodies. How to raise your shoulders. So let's draw a circle for your hips and a fly. That same circle, I'm going to map it up here, and I'm going to draw a line. This line is going to represent my collarbone. Okay, it's that bone that happens to be in the front of your body, in your rib cage. Okay, the one on top. So if I want to raise this, this goes up. And now I lift this, my shoulder. You have volume to your shoulder, right? and your arms and stuff like that come in. But the moment that you lift that line, you're lifting your shoulder up. So if you do your like kawaii, like type of shakes. But yeah, like that little collarbone line, instead of being a straight line, it goes like your shoulders are over here. You bend it up so that your arm goes up. Adding next to it. No, you already added the neck to this. Whatever circle you choose is the size of your neck and your head. Ta-da! A thumb tutorial? Okay, so I'm gonna give you the best thumb tutorial you'll ever see. You have a hand right next to you. Unless you don't have a hand, you have a hand presented to you right there. Look at that. I am righty, lefty is my model. Oh, lefty, how are you? Look at you, how beautiful. Now, I want to draw lefty. I want to learn how to draw thumb. So I'm going to look at the parts that move on my hand. Look at that. This moves. I'm going to draw a line there. Cool. This seems like a bone. Let's draw a bone, a line around the bone. Let's see where the bone goes. Okay. Oh, my bone seems to go around in the middle of my hand, and it goes into my nail. Interesting. So, and how many parts do I have? I have 1, 2, and the base seems like a third. So I might just put all this into one section. So that's going to be 3. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. How big is this one? How big is this one? Oh, awesome. The base is the same size as the 2 next fingers. So if I have my thumb, I'm going to take a big shape, and whatever shape I choose here, the next 2 have to be about that size. Done. 1, 2, 3. If I want a cartoony one, if I want a more complicated one, I can look at my own finger and be like, okay, the bone's in the middle goes to the nail, right? And then I have 3 sections, 1, 2, and these 2 equal the third one. Just simple math and simple observation of my own body part, right? I'm not doing anything special. I don't need a lesson from a master. I don't need anything to tell me. I have 3 sections to my thumb. I can draw on it. I can get messy. I can observe in a way that makes sense to me instead of someone telling me like, no, the carpet bone is not sticking out enough. I'm like, shut up. It looks like a nail. Right? Like if I'm drawing it and it makes sense to me and I can draw this in any way, shape, or form, then it's not a style. It's me understanding this. I'm choosing to draw them in different ways, right? Once you learn, you just learn how to adapt and modify volume based on what type of nails you want. Okay, you want extended nails so they're all pretty and shit, or do you want claws or whatever? That's going to be an extension of your basic shapes that you understand. Okay, once you get and learn a standard, now you can have deviations of the standard. You need a standard for everything. You need a base shape. That's what my little Sam guy is for me, right? For hands, whenever I'm drawing, I just divide this into 4, knuckles, pinky line, thumb line. To me, that's my math. That's the math that happens whenever I'm drawing a hand. And it gives me all the little mapping points I need. Okay, if I want to do this in a different style, let's put it in 4. Let's say I want bigger fingers, I can draw bigger knuckles, right? And make them thicker. And now I have a lumberjack or whatever. But all those measuring points go to the exact same thing. And I'm not doing it to create a boxy shape. I'm doing it so I can just understand where the parts go. I can do that on a circle. Right? It doesn't matter. Find the index, find the pinky, find the thumb. 1, 2, 3. That is the very basic concept of the hand. And if you can learn to do that in any way, shape, or form, any side, anything. Once you find one finger, you can find the other, and then all the other mapping points fall into place. So it's very important to understand that with hands, because hands are very malleable. Hands don't really have a very specific shape. It's like tentacles. You have 10 little baby tentacles at your disposal. No, 20, because your feet are 2. But they're not as malleable for some people because they're short. But some people have really long toes, and that's kind of creepy to me. Like when people can actually do, like one of my exes could play video games with her feet. And luckily she was absolutely fucking stunning. So it's like, oh, okay, I get it. But imagine you have like scraggly, long ass tail, like nose, and like you're like, and then you're like breaking your controllers because your like Velociraptor nail just cuts into the like little joystick and stuff. Nah, gross. See, the problem with being imaginative is that I can imagine all these things, right? Like I can imagine somebody with like crusty nails picking up a controller with like their feet. And now I know how they do it. So it's like, that would be funny. Can you help with side profiles? Oh, I can teach you everything you need to know about side profiles. You want to know how to do a side profile in like 2 seconds? Yeah, this won't be on YouTube. I like this one. Side profiles are as easy as doing an uneven pizza slice. So if you draw a circle, right? And you start slicing it into pizza slices. You make 4 pizza slices. And you're going to make one of them uneven. Just make it uneven. Just something different. By learning this, you're going to learn the basic concept of proportions for characters. Okay? That very front section is going to be most of the time the only thing that changes. You don't believe me. I don't doubt you. Being able to draw a variety of characters most of the time is subject to learning how the neck connects, right? How it curves along to your body, and how you can use that and manipulate that to generate characters that are gigantic by just literally moving that neckline. Things like the Hulk and Venom and stuff like that, it's just a matter of learning the uneven pizza slice and then learning how your neck connects to the back. How do you connect the chin and chin? The lip? Well, the lip itself is a curvy line that goes around your body and connects to the other side, right? Because it's your mouth. It goes around, it opens up. So understanding how your lips curve around and your chin connect is a matter of understanding the volume for the lip, how your teeth shape everything, and learning how the lip itself wraps around and connects back to where your nose is. So understanding this little section is just about learning how to draw something akin of an eye. See this shape? It goes around one way to the other. You need to learn to do that. Instead of stylizing it, you need to learn to draw that and then fill it in with teeth. When you learn to do that first, you're going to have an issue with the spacing. You'll learn that most of the spacing is going to be geared towards the bottom. But a lot of the times, that doesn't look quite good in a style. It's a very good thing for portraits and stuff like that. If somebody wants to draw like portraiture, you need to learn basic proportions. But I like to just split whatever shape under the nose. Whatever shape I have under the nose, I split it in half. And that's my mouth. That's normally my measuring system because I like not having to guess. And then if I need something with a lot more lips, I remove it from the top a little bit. Instead of adding more space in between, it gets like the nose and a mouth, right? Or something like that. If you have lips, this line goes up because the thickness of your lip adds volume. The bigger your lip, the more that pushes up. Okay? If your jaw structure gets pushed forward, you get more in different races. You can get a person with really big lips that have a protrusion up, a bottom lip that's equally big, and then a chin that's equally big. So this really does shift depending on if a person has no lips and no chin, right? To a person that has lips and the chin. So there's no standard to that. There's no just a little tiny shape that you can do that's going to give you every single head shape. You just need to learn how that a little uneven pizza slice changes for different people, right? Because your nose and your chin might be different for different people. So having the ability to have a maneuverable method that allows you to draw pretty much anything and just know that you have to concentrate on that one little spot is boom. People with no teeth. Oh, you mean the gums? Like their teeth fell out or something? Gummy bear. Yeah, you'd still have your gums. I mean, your gums don't fall out. Just your teeth fall out. All right, my friends. We will be coming on here later today for a little bit of karaoke and songs and stuff like that. That might be in a couple hours, maybe like at 5 or 6 o'clock at night, Pacific time. So if you guys, I don't have pool tonight. They called me off. They called off the big dog. They didn't have any competition for me tonight. So I get to stay home and I get to work on some stuff and I get to work on my next course, and I'm releasing the schedule for it tomorrow. I'm going to release the release schedule for my for my character design, advanced character design course for the people that have already bought it. If the people already bought it, they're going to start getting a class every week, and they're going to be receiving a class and a discussion panel every Wednesday. So once I start that, it's going to be class on Mondays, discussion Wednesdays, and we add the discussion to the class after that week so that everybody has access to all the knowledge that was asked by anybody that was curious. This is also going to be the way to launch my Discord in an official way and actually have purpose for it. Instead of it just being another social media site, we will be doing this through my Discord. So I will provide details of this stuff later on to the people that have purchased the character design course. I did not release it publicly yet because it's going to it's not going to conflict in nature with the one that 21 Draw is releasing. It's not really, it's not this at all anything of the same, right? It's not the same knowledge, but we're trying to avoid having too much released too quickly. Right? So that people get excited over it instead of like, oh my fucking God, another RODGON course. Fuck this guy. Right? We're trying to avoid that sort of notion. So we're going to space it out a little bit. But to the people that already bought it, I don't want you guys to get impatient and think that it's not coming. Because I hate people that do that. So I'm going to provide the people that have already bought it a very nice standard way of seeing it. And it's a ton of classes. It's going to be like 30 plus classes for that one. So I have a lot of work ahead of me this coming month. But that does not mean that I hate it or dread it in any way. I'm excited as hell, and I have learned so much that I'm just happy to put onto paper and then be able to explain to you all. So that is going to be my day. I hope that you all spend your day wisely. be good, relax, have fun, enjoy time with family, sign job with loved ones. Tell your crush you like them. Tell them that their butt is nice. And if it's reciprocal, you guys get to smile. Love you all. Take care. See you guys next time. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Hope you guys learned a lot. Later, Gators.